Good morning, everyone. Thanks for staying around. I know people want to get home, but let's get through the last presentation of this conference. Thank you to the Penn State guys who put this on. I'm glad to be here first time. It's a great conference so far, and I'm glad to be part of it. So today we're going to be talking about some Munki topics, some Puppet topics, and we're going to look at doing distributed repos for your Munki server if you have more than one site to worry about. We'll start with just a little quick thing about myself so we all know who I am, although a lot of people here probably already know who I am. First, we need to talk about the name. What's up with my name? How do I pronounce that? Yeah, that's a common question. My first name is Dutch, my last name is French. I'm from the Netherlands originally, so this leads to hilarity when people try to pronounce my name. So I thought it'd make it a little easier for everyone to do a little mnemonic here so that you will never forget my name again. So I'm going to use some images to keep it simple. I do not have an image for the first pronunciation of my first syllable here, so you'll have to go with that. The second one is much easier, though, because that is just Bruienne. So Pepijn Bruienne is how you pronounce my name, and you will probably not forget now. If that looks like something you may have seen before, you may also use this as a password in the future, because yes, it happens my name has a lot of in common with this. So to move on here, so I'm a Mac systems admin for Cengage Learning. Been there just a little over 5 years. Started in 2008. Been using Macs for much longer than that. I forget, a long time, almost 20 years at this point. Since my time there, I've implemented Deploy Studio, Munki, and now making some headway with Puppet as well. As many people here probably have had some involvement with that. I am a lead on a lot of our Mac-related IT projects because of the growth of our organization's Mac inventory. Things kind of snowballed in that we needed a lot of management that previously that wasn't necessary. So we've really had to catch up on some of that. Some contact, you can find me on the Twitters, I'm on LinkedIn, I have an email address, and if you are on the Matrix, you can also find me on Freenode. My name is pretty much all the same over there to keep it simple. So my company, as said, Cengage Learning, we are a large educational publisher. We publish books, digital products for the higher ed mostly, some K through 12 as well. The official line is we're a leading provider in innovative teaching, learning, research solutions, academic, professional, library markets worldwide. We publish a lot. So some of our brands, you may recognize some of these, you EDU people most likely do. Those are a lot of the book products. Then we have some digital products. InfoTrack is probably familiar to folks in the EDU as a large information database. We own a lot of content that we wrap products around. And in increasing volume digital products that involve a lot of Macs to get that done. So right now, we're at 750 Macs about. This is in the U.S., internationally more, but right now I'm mostly involved with the U.S. Macs, and this is growing rapidly. A year ago, we had maybe 2/3 of that, if not less. So it's growing pretty fast. Most of it is laptops these days. People pretty much ask for a laptop off the bat. The percentage will be shifting to laptops more and more. We have some remote users that rarely are on site. We support those too. And as said, we're in the US, EMEA, and Asia as well. And our standard infrastructure is the awesome triangle of awesome, the Active Directory, Exchange, and SharePoint. So there is a lot of fun that goes with that that I get to support day in, day out. That's right. That's right. Throw it up. So what we're going to do, I just want to go over what we're kind of going to see here and then get into it. So some of the prerequisites. We're going to go over Munki kind of quickly. It's assumed in this presentation that you kind of have touched Munki or otherwise have played with it, know how it works. Same with Puppet. If you've read about it, tinkered with it, kind of know how it works. that will help you as well. I will go over obviously what it does, but it helps if you've had a little bit of exposure to that. So we're going to learn what Munkiserver is. I will go over that, a third-party product that allows a little more control in an organization. How repositories work, having multiple sites with multiple locations for installers to come from. How obviously your users will benefit from this, and how Puppet can be used to manage all that fun stuff. So why was it my approach? Obviously, if you use Puppet, you have a lot of repetition that you can take out that you might have to do manually. There's a predictability of the operations that will happen, so you don't have to guess about a lot of your setups. And of course, it goes by the "what are you trying to accomplish" credo. What are you trying to do? That was the monkey father himself. I just threw him in there because as much as we like to make fun of it, what are you trying to accomplish is definitely always a great way to start any project before you get lost in the woods. And obviously, limiting your scope for a project like this is definitely a benefit. So, Munki, as we know, this is where we can find it. It's hosted open source on Google Code. Greg and a bunch of other folks that are here present today, are contributing to that. Started about 2009. It's open and free, Apache 2.0 license, written in Python, a number of command line interface tools, an end user, graphical user interface tool to offer them updates that it manages. Some third parties that use it, Google obviously uses it for Simian. You may have heard of it or not, but it sort of implements similarly what I do here, only on a much larger scale, using the Google Cloud to distribute its assets. So my approach here is a lot less cloudy. That sounds weird. And obviously, everyone here, like I said, probably has had some hands on it. So many other EDU and Corp admins are using it this day. Puppet, I just want to go over the different versions. Open source, which is free and anyone can download it and use it. In the enterprise version, I have a few links here. These slides will be available after the presentation, so you can go through and click on them. Open source free, you need to do a little more work to set it up. You have to install your own your own web interface if you like such a thing. Enterprise comes pre-rolled, so you install it, it's good to go. Those are the benefits, and obviously the paid support. If you're confused, there's a great overview that Puppet Labs has up that shows you what the differences are. So Puppet, real quick, IT automation software for sysadmins. It can manage the provisioning, configuration, and to some extent patch management of nodes, but obviously we're going to be using a Munki for that here as well. But it can install some base software that you may need on a system. It automates repetitive tasks that you may have to repeat to keep a system in compliance, and does all of this in a predictable and repeatable way. So, a little new territory here, Munkiserver. This was put in place, developed by, there's a description here. This is from the site itself. Easy, well thought out way to manage a Munki repository. You no longer have to manually editplists, generate new catalogs, or FUTs with package info files, a technical term. Jordan Rain, he is a sysadmin at Simon Fraser University in British Columbia, came up with this kind of the same way that I came up with what I'm presenting here. He needed something that was better at managing the software and computers and user groups that he had there, and decided to create something that does that. He started in about 2010. This was put forward. It's a Rails or Ruby web app, uses very standard Rails framework, and it basically sets up, we'll go into that in a second, so it's open and free again. There's a wiki that goes through a lot of the installation setup instructions, both for Mac OS and Linux. It can run both on OS X client or server, or any most Linux distributions. We will see some of the slight differences, but on OS 10, if it's installed, it can use, when installed, the Munki tools, and importing a package or a disk image is automatic. On the Linux version, you have to first run Munki import or make package info yourself and upload the separate disk image and package info files. For a lot of admins, I think it's still a good idea to use the command line tools, just because you should know what's happening before blindly uploading something and hoping that the tool does what's supposed to do. There's a mailing list as well where folks that are either involved in the development or just want to ask questions go and ask questions. So as I said, Ruby on Rails based. All these tools are free as well. As I said, it runs on OS 10, Linux, any Unix that can basically run Apache and Rails. Inside Passenger. Passenger is a more robust wrapper around Rails that allows for more scaling, more robust running of Rails for if you have a lot of clients that all need to access it. Passenger is pretty much recommended to use this in, because Rails by itself can run into skill issues pretty quickly. So it's dynamic. When it says there are no plist files, that's because there are none. It is all database based, and when a client asks for a file, a manifest, a catalog, the server generates it on the fly from the database backend. So there are never any files on a flat file system sitting around. The only thing that sits around are the actual install files. It is, by default, it's SQLite 3. You can use any other database backend that Rails can use. So MySQL, SQL Server, you name it. If Rails can talk to it, you can implement it as well. And then, like I said, the only things actually stored on disk are the payloads. So a flat package or a disk image. As mentioned too, if Munki Tools is installed on the server that you're running Munkiserver on, it can use those tools. Yes?
Are there any high availability scenarios that have ever been deployed for that, where you have a failover server or a replicate database?
I mean, I have not myself personally deployed that, but anything that's possible with Rails, any of the articles that you may read out there about high availability Rails or failover, they apply here, as long as it uses standard active record, which is a very standard Rails tool to access a database. If the database is hooked up and Rails doesn't really need to know about what the backend is doing, then that will work as well. Yes, anything you can do in Rails database-wise, this will work with. It's standard as long as it can pull a record. It doesn't care about how many clusters you have running in the background, for sure. So like I said, if you run it on a Linux or VM Linux host, you must use on a different host, make package info, make a Munki import. Again, I think it's important that everyone at least uses those a little bit so that they know what's going on and they make tweaks that are appropriate for their organization. So let's look at what's different real quick. There are some new terms in here. Munkiserver splits things up in units, environments, bundles, computers and users. Computers and users sounds pretty straightforward, but I'll go through the other ones real quick. So units can be used for, as it says here, geographical sites, departments, any clear separation you have between various machines, you would place them in here. So you can have a library, you can have a lab. In our case, we have geographical sites. We have our West Coast locations, our Midwest, our East Coast. They are in different units. What that means is, then we have environments. By default, there are two environments in there, staging and production. So anything you are testing obviously goes in staging. Once it's done, you can easily roll it into the production environment. Bundles are basically manifests that you would nest in a user manifest or in another manifest. They're just groups of packages that you can easily drop somewhere to keep things together, groups of packages or installers that you would like to keep together for, let's say, a base laptop load or desktop load or a creative designer software load. Computers are one-to-one, so there can be only one computer on the system in a unit. And I'll go over that again in a minute. And then admins, you can have various levels of admin users. There's one or more super admins, and then units can have their own administrators who can manage everything or just upload packages or just add computers. It's very granular. And in our demo, I'll give you a look at exactly the granularity of that. Some other similar projects that sort of fit in this category to one extent or another. Obviously, Munki web admin from Greg Nagel, our Munki creator himself. He put this out recently. Allows you to manage your repository as it is on disk. So nothing changes with his system. It just puts a web front end on what you already have in place. Obviously, Simian by Google, much more involved, much larger scale, requires more setup. But ultimately, if you have a large scale operation, that is definitely also worth a look. And Munki Report, not necessarily a full management system, but I mention it because the reporting that is in Munkiserver has a lot of similarity to what Munki Report does. It logs every run of managed software update. It logs machine information. It can keep track of warranty, etc. So let's get into the how and what real quick. So there is no manual manifest or catalog editing. So you will not find yourself in a text editor editing plist files. There's also no make catalog. Make catalog is basically whenever you ask for a catalog, it's created. So there's a one-to-one computer-to-manifest relation. So how a computer is known to the system is by its MAC address. There are some initiatives to make that an option, whether it's the serial number or the MAC address. Right now, this is how it's known to the computer. So that is what it asks for when it contacts the server. So units, again, you can divide up your locations by department location, whatever you have. One unit, one computer. So a computer can be in only one unit at a time. So you cannot have the same one in your library and in your lab unit. That is not allowed, I think, kind of for obvious reasons. If you need to move it, you can do that, but you can only have one computer listed at a time. Yes?
Can you nest units that give geographical?
You can, there's actually groups that let you sort of divide it up further at that point. Yeah, you can definitely do that. You can have a unit and then desktops, laptops, etc. You can do it that way. So all of these computers in a unit are localized, as well as groups and packages and bundles. So nothing in a unit is available outside of the unit. It is completely contained to that. So that allows you to keep things really separate. So as I said, environments are pretty straightforward. There's a staging, there's a production. It simplifies it a little bit. There's no staging, QA, production. If you wanted to, you could easily add this. Again, it's open, so you can add another environment to your database, and it will automatically be available. But I think so far for me, this has been a fine setup. And then bundles. So they are basically like manifests. You can group packages for that include an installation, managed update, a optional software, or removal, anything like that. You can combine into a bundle that can then be used further down the list. As I said here, they can be nested. Bundles can be nested in bundles and bundles and bundles. So the inception reference goes right here. Then the computer objects. They are registered by MAC address and a name. You can also have an optional host name if you wish to have one. And again, they are scoped to the unit. So one computer, one unit only. The group objects, as Nate just asked, are inside a unit. So you can use the groups further to separate your library machines between the iMacs and the laptops. Well, you won't have laptops probably, but you can use that to further divvy up your computer objects. These computer group objects can be given individually, managed installs, updates, removals, optional software as well, and you can also assign bundles to them. So it's very flexible in how you can add things to specific computers based on one or more identification, desktop, laptop, etc. So again, there are no catalogs. And they are created on the fly based on two things. They're based on the unit and the environment. So as an example here, if a computer belongs to the library unit and it's in the staging environment, then the catalog that the computer is sent when it asks for it is library-production.plist. That is the catalog that is created on the fly, which contains everything that the computer or that is available in the library unit in the production environment. All the available software is in that catalog. Then, which you install is up to the individual manifest. Yes. What's that? Oh, whoops. I made a typo. I'm sorry. Yes, that should be staging. Ignore that. That should be library staging. I guess I made a typo there at the last end. I'm going to go into some screenshots of the UI right now. I will also do a demo to give you more of a moving demo as well. But I want to highlight some of the things. So this is what the dashboard looks like. I know, can we all see this? It's a little fuzzy, but you get the idea. We'll have a demo in a second. So at the top, you have a navigation bar that gets you into the users, where you can set various users that have access to the entire system, one unit, multiple units, and what they can do with them. Units lets you create a unit. Dashboard is where we are right now. Permissions is where you assign permissions to users, create it in users, and then there's logout, obviously, that will get you logged out. At the top here, that's where that's a unit. So the name of this unit is default. This is the one that's created when you first install the system. Warranty here, if you enter systems, computers in here, you can have it retrieve the warranty information from Apple. And if any units are close to being out of warranty, it will warn you right here. So depending on how many machines you have, that list may grow significantly, but as a dashboard option, it's a really nice feature to have. Then it has available package updates. It can use Mac update version checking to see if a package that Mac update knows about has an available newer version. Again, as a dashboard function, it's handy to kind of keep track of what's going on. So available updates is a good feature to have. At the dashboard, you can add a package right there. What you're seeing here right now is it is running on an OS X host. So you'll only choose a disk image. There is no package info to upload because, as you can see here at the bottom, it actually mentions Munki tools. So-and-so is installed, so it will use the Munki tools to do the work in the background. Missing manifests. If a machine connects to the server, but it's not known yet to the system, it will show here. So that will give you a heads up that a system connected, but it doesn't know what to send it. And you should probably create one. Yes?
The warranty information, do you have to enter it, or does it?
No. So yeah, when a system connects, there is just like in Munki, there's a post-flight script that runs on the client that sends up system information, serial number, sort of the standard stuff that comes out of System Profiler. And I'll show in the live demo where you would go. You can click a button, retrieve the warranty information for this computer. It will populate it. At that point, it will know how to keep track of that based on expiration dates for that. So you don't have to enter it. It basically pulls it out of the System Profiler info. And then as well on this page, you can add a computer manually. If you are, let's say there's a new computer and you need to add it into the system, you can do that here. Like I said, you see the server version here and Munki Tools is installed, so it calls that out too. This is the main computer listing view. So as you see here, there's one site default computer that's in here right now. We'll step through this a little bit. So new options here. Once you step into the unit's computer listing, you'll have a header there with the units, computers, computer groups, user groups, bundles, and packages. That's the top navigation there. Here, this lets you switch between staging and production machines. So computers either in production or staging. This is where you switch that. Main listing of the computer, some basic info, host name, MAC address, last report. This one is never checked in. And then here are some buttons to edit the machine, destroy it, remove it. And manifest and client prefs links let you view the content for that specific machine of the manifest and the client prefs, and I'll call those out in a minute. You can filter if you're looking for a machine, you have a lot of them. And again, here you can add a computer as well. And if you have groups, this is a quick navigation point where you can switch between them. So if you were to click on the, let's see, what was this? On the manifest for this computer, this is what would download, and this is what opens in your browser if you click on this. So a flat XML file, plist, that shows the catalog here, and any managed installs, uninstalls, updates, optional installs. There's none for this machine, so it's empty right now. And then the same, if you click on the client prefs, it will show you what the preferences for this machine should be to connect properly to this machine. So it has manifest URL, software URL, all kind of the standard things that you would put in a machine. It has the client identifier right here, as you can see, is the zeroed out, in this case, MAC address of that machine. Yeah.
That's like a composite of stuff that would be on the client in its own preference.
Yes. Yeah.
With the tracker and the identifier that the server
Yeah.
is using. The other is what would normally be on a regular Munkiserver.
Yeah, so that would be, yeah, exactly. So that would be a flat file. In this case, it's generated when you click on it. So if I were to add a package to that, it would show up, and I'll show that in a minute as well. Okay, so we'll get next. Package. This is how you upload a package. This is how it looks on a Linux host. So you'll see here, you choose a disk image, choose a package info, and then you click upload. That's pretty much all there's to it. It uploads, and then when it's parsed to package info, this is what you get. This part here is actually at the bottom here. I kind of have to lift it up a little bit. But so as you can see, this up here is the that's what it's called, I'm sorry, I'm blanking out, the category, or this is the family name of the Flash plugin. So you can have multiple ones with different versions. So it's basically if you have a package info for, well, we have many Flash package infos, obviously. That's the name before the dash. The version number after the dash is what's here. So this is how it keeps the families together. And this is pretty much all that came out of the plist in this case. So the version is there. We have no restart action, the OS support. By default, it puts it in staging to give you a chance to test it. It doesn't drop anything in production automatically. And you can set various settings further on. There's the advanced plist and scripts, and we'll jump into those in a minute. And over here, you can tell it this is an update for anything. So you can tell it this is an update for, just like you would in a manually edited package info file. And if it requires anything, you can select it here from a list if it's already in the system. Or you can type a name here if you want as well. So similar or very, the same as it would be in a flat package info. Again, this is pulled out of the package info. A lot of this you don't want to change really, the package installer type, uninstall method. You have some options to set auto remove, uninstallable, unintended install. Unintended uninstall, those are checkboxes here that you can set as it's needed for your package. If you have any scripts that a package needs, they would go here. You can start, if there's anything already in the package info, they will show up here. If you need one, you can enter it here. Same thing as you would do in a package info. You have your bash shebang or whatever tool you use. You put in your script, exit 0, exactly the same as you would in a package info, only you put it in here, and it does all the encoding, the URL escaping, or the HTML entity escapes, etc., that are needed by itself, so you don't have to worry about that. Let's see, then we have the bundles. I'm showing the main UI of this just to give you an idea of what you can do. So in a bundle, you could say laptop software, and then you can go in and select, let's say, a VPN software that you want here, and let's say a remote backup tool that you install. You pick those all here, and at that point, those softwares are available under, let's say, the laptop bundle, and you can assign them easily to a group of machines without having to pick them each time. Again, basically a nestable manifest is what this amounts to. let's see, computer groups. As said, you can use this to further break down your unit. So you can, over here, you would add one or more machines, and you can select a bundle here. So let's say you have a laptops users or laptop students. You can make it here, select a bundle for the laptops and any other software that you may have to install, and add computers to it. And it would be created, and at that point, anything assigned to that group would be installed on computers in that group. Okay, so that looks good, but let's look at a live demo here real quick. I'm going to keep this short because I know this is all, this may be a little, and yes, I know I'm using PowerPoint. So, yes.
Question for you. This will be Adobe Flash example. Blocking applications.
That is, yeah, I'm sorry. There is a spot where you have the raw plist. Not every option is necessarily, yeah, but you can go in there and actually, if it's there, it will keep it there. It won't override it and say, I don't know about this, I'm dumping it. It just may not show in the UI, but the plist will still show. You can go in, same with conditional, yeah, conditional items that you may have in there. It leaves intact, it doesn't touch them. So it will still work. If your client supports it, it will still be there. So real quick, this is the interface. I don't have a lot in here, but I wanted to show you at least how a package upload works. So this is, right now I have this set as no Munki tools installed. So it will need a disk image and a plist. I have the WebEx 64-bit plugin. Here's an example. I'm going to click the plist file. And once I have that here, now you are also able to, since a recent version, you can give it a URL. If you have it running on an OS X server, Munki tools are installed, you can give it a URL to the Flash plugin in Adobe site or any other publicly accessible disk image. You can tell it, go get it there and import it. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to download anything. You can just give it the URL and it will grab it and process it if it's running on an OS X server. Otherwise, on a Linux machine, you'll have to do that yourself. So we'll upload that. And it breaks because I've been making edits, so that's all right. I will show you a package here for this one, and you'll get the same idea because the next thing you will see is actually this screen right here. This screen right here. So this is what we just saw here. So as you can see here, I have two versions in here. So again, this is the family name of the installable. These are the versions that it has available, so I can click between those, and I can edit them as needed. I can tell it that this is an update for Adobe Flash Player. I don't necessarily have to do that with this, but I can, and I can tell it that it requires something. Right now, I don't have a lot in here, so it's not really useful to show that. So here, I showed this before too, and if you look here, you can see the plist. So receipts are here, installs, and then you have raw tags here. So if you're, like over here, you said blocking applications, they are here. So you can edit this as you would, normally, and add anything to it. It just doesn't show every UI, every of these items in the UI as of yet, but they are there. So I wanted to quickly show the permissions. Because that is an important item here. I'm going to add a new site admin, and I'm not going to give them an email address. Oh, okay, site admin. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't look valid, huh? Sure. Now it does. All right. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now what I can do, if I want to give this user permissions on the, let's say on the East Coast site, I can go in and I can tell it, well, what can this user do? Can he see bundles, modify them, create them, destroy them? Same for computer groups, computers, packages. Can they edit their own permissions or not? Can they at least see them? Can they create user groups? So based on how many people you have in your organization that you would want to help out with some of this, you can give them various levels of access to just create bundles or just add computers. You just want them to be able to add a new computer, or you have a package admin who puts all the packages in there. You can give them access to add packages either to a single site or system-wide. You can do that too. Actually, it's based by site, so you give them access to that. You can create groups of, let's say, a package admin that you can put various people in, then give that group access. So it's very, very flexible that way. Let's see here. Let's look at, I'm going to jump out of this pretty quickly, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the other features. And one thing to note is that it can import ARD P-lists. So if you have a lot of computers you want to get into the system, you don't necessarily want to type that all by hand. You can export a list in Apple Remote Desktop, feed it here, and you can tell it where to put it, either automatically. I have no groups right now, but it will use the file name of the file that you give it as a group name. So it will create a group of computers and put them in there. So I've used that to prime my system, and it's helped me tremendously to quickly get up to speed.
Real quick question on
Yes.
that. Is there a specific fork where that works? Because I have never been able to get that function.
It works now. Whenever it doesn't work,
Yeah.
it's because there's crazy quotes. I call them fancy quotes. Like if it's not straight quotes, it bombs on it because XML doesn't really like all sorts of fancy characters. So if you have problems with that, run it, do a find and replace on, or encode the entities.
Okay. That gives you the Unicode versus ASCII
Yeah,
mismatch.
exactly. Because if it's curly quotes, it will bomb on that hard, and then either not take that record or anything after it. Okay. That's what I ran into the same issue, okay. And it turns out if it has, or a single curly quote, because it has the standard so-and-so's iMac, it will do that. So you kind of have to get rid of those.
Okay.
ARD doesn't necessarily throw you any bones. Well,
I'm shocked. Yeah, that's true.
I can do a whole talk on why ARD, is the bane of our existence, but it does many things that you scratch your head over. But yeah, you're right.
Probably P-list lengthy tools.
Yeah.
Well, you can just use POUtil and just run the lint. If you have POUtil installed, as a lint option, you can run it through, and it'll tell you, what's wrong with it. That's definitely a good point. Huh? Is that going to work?
Might say, hey, you're just plugged in a device for a second, then you can be able to keep moving. You can just close that window. That's for making the presentation.
Okay. Don't want to linger too long because I have a lot still to go through, but this is the basic view. You can download this, install it, and play with this. It's very easy to get set up. The wiki has great instructions on how to get it set up. Tinker with it, get a feel for it. It's definitely it's helped me a lot in my environment. Let me step back in here. Okay, we had our live demo. All right, so yeah, you're right. I should do this right. Sweet. Okay. So next step, obviously, now I have one master site in my location, but I have folks working in California, I have folks working on the East Coast. If I'm going to put these all on my site, they are going to hammer my WAN and just make everyone's lives miserable. So what are we going to do about that? Slow WAN link, you're going to fill your link with a lot of requests. Solution for that is an offshoot of the Munkiserver project called Package Mirror. And it's stripped down code that does nothing more. Here's a URL for you. It proxies between the client and the master server. So you configure your clients at a remote site to, instead of the master server, connect to the package mirror server for any disk images it needs. So the package URL is what you would fill out in your client's configuration. It sends a request. The package mirror server knows I need to translate this and pulls up the actual file as it is on the local repository. Requires same Apache Passenger Rails, and it serves files locally to the package mirror. So it doesn't go to the master site to grab them. It gets it from your local site. And I have an awesome infographic to show you how that works.
Edutainment.
Yes. So given a master site, a number of repositories, and a number of clients that are at those sites, this is how this process works. So the client gets a client manifest. All manifest and other configuration is still gotten from the master server. They're very small files. They're hardly going to hammer your connection typically. So it gets the information, determines I need a file. So it sends a request to the local repository and says, hey, my package info that I have here says I need to get this file. Where do I get this? It sends the requests through the mirror. The mirror hits the master server with a JSON request that says this file, what is the local file name for this? It gets the response back from the server. Once it has that, it tells the local client, all right, I have this file, and this is where it's at on my local site. So as you can see here, this is what it sends back for this repo right here. It sends this URL. This one, repo 3, it sends the same file name, but with the local server's host name. Same here. So centrally managed configuration, locally hosted installers, cutting down on a lot of traffic on your wide area link. Basic functionality, that is what it does. Saves a lot of traffic in my situation because we have sites that are not very well connected. This saves a lot of traffic. So how that's configured, there is a small package that just installs a post-flight script, just like Munki itself has a post-flight script that you can use to check it in, to have it send some basic info. It is a post-flight that replaces that checks in with the server, sends system profiler info, et cetera, et cetera. So the basic keys that you would need, obviously your client identifier, software repo URL, that's your main URL for your master server. Package URL is your local repo. This would change for every site. Obviously, are we going to type that in manually, or are we going to automate that a little bit? Well, obviously, getting the MAC address is easy. Master Munkiserver, we know that. But we need to do some work to get the local package mirror. So it kind of depends on your situation, what identifies a site. This could be the host name may have a site identifier. In our case, we have a site host name or username, and that identifies it. You can also do it by IP range. If you know what IP range has what site, you can do it that way as well. Your Active Directory domain controller may also give you a clue as to where a computer is. I have some examples here just to give you an idea of how you could automate that. So this is how I do it. So I pull my host name, short host name, make anything that's uppercase by chance, make it lowercase, flatten it down a little bit. I know my master Munkiserver, obviously. I pull my MAC address. I know I can use grep and awk in one go. And then I just do some switching. This is all bash, so I'm just doing this. I just check my host name, and if it starts with site 1, that's my repo, and so on and so on. Site 2, site 3, whatever case you want to match on, you can use that here. You can use any other language that you would like to use to make this easier. This is an example of how to do that. And if nothing was found, I'm logging this in the system log saying, no site found. I'm skipping this script entirely. I'm not configuring the server. I mentioned AD. If you want to use your AD site, every AD computer has a local site that it connects to. You can use dig that we saw in Mike Boylan's presentation about DNS. You can use dig to get this information. Okay, we all wrote it all down. What it will end up with is that it will give you that information, so you can very easily use this to now say, this is my site, I now know where it is, and this is the mirror that I wanted to connect to. There's a URL where I got this from. Obviously, I did not come up with this all myself. Right there, you can get the, again, you get the slides. You can go and read all about that. To continue, log some information. I write out the information. So I write the the package URL info here. I have my site figured out now, so I put that in there. My master monkey, I know that one, and I know my client identifier. So I write that to the configuration file. Those three things are the only thing you need to write at a basic level to get a master server and a repo set up. I have a bonus, because that's what you were looking for. Auto-enrollment. Someone asked me, does it have auto-enrollment? Can I just have the computer enroll itself on the server when I install the client? It would be much easier. I made some edits to the code to do that, to allow the script to send a token, if you want to, a client token, that sends the auto-config post parameter here. So when it sends a request, you can actually have that send the auto-config equals true. It will not require a login to add a computer. Usually you need to be logged in to do anything. This will get around that to just for the add computer operation. If the client token auto-config is available, it will skip that and will just add a machine. So, So I have that out here. This is the code that I added it in the on Munkiserver. You can take a look at that. It's a few lines basically. It's pretty simple, but it helped me a lot to get other sites to quickly enroll their machines versus having to manually type them all in. Because once you've copy pasted a few MAC addresses, you want to drink Drano. So I have a big jug on my desk. So this is great. This obviously, you can see the benefits. Local traffic is contained. You don't have a lot of stuff going over the wire. But setting these package mirrors up obviously can be a little tedious. And you can mess it up pretty easily. So, boy, if there only was a tool that we could do this once and just burst it out many times. Obviously, Puppet is the magic bullet here. So why did I use Puppet? I had sort of a limited scope problem here. I had a very defined problem. I want to set up these mirrors, and I don't want to do it all manually every single one that I have to add first time and times after that. So I figured might as well use this to get some actual Puppet implementation going. So it uses the Apache and Passenger modules that are available on the Puppet Forge. I'll show you how to install those, standard stuff. And I wrote a few simple manifests to do the custom configuration. So the things you need to set up is a vhost in Apache. We need to get xsend file for downloads. If you are not familiar with this, xsend file is a module for Apache that allows Apache to handle any file downloads. If you were to send a 3 gig Mountain Lion installer through Rails, it's going to be really slow. Rails is great at dynamic content, really bad at static, large binary content. So this will allow Rails to pass off file downloads to Apache. We need to set up some basic passenger configuration, and we need to set up the actual package mirror to configure it to know how to connect to the master server. So in my environment, we're using Puppet Enterprise for the aforementioned, easy to get going. It's free for up to 10 nodes. We had 8 that I needed to do, so win-win. Paid support is what Enterprise offers. My boss was very happy with knowing that we could pay for something and call someone, as bosses usually do. They like to hear that you can call someone. We all know great companies, support engineers, etc. Doing this is very similar for Puppet Enterprise and open source. I'm talking in this example about how to do it in Puppet Enterprise. Open source will be very similar if you install the Puppet dashboard as well. It's just, Graham did a very good overview of how to use Puppet open source and how to get manifests in there. I would definitely look at his slides and my slides to get an idea of how to do that with the open source solution. And if you need more information about how to write them, here's a great piece of documentation from Puppet Labs on how to do that and how to get Puppet Enterprise going. So let's look at a little bit of this manifest I created. I have to warn you, there's a lot of code ahead, so if you are not comfortable in the matrix, let me know. So I'm going to create a simple class that's going to sync the content. So it's going to take all the disk images that I have on my master server, bring them down to a mirror. So what I create here is a class called MunkiSync, and all I'm going to do here is going to set up a cron job, make sure that's there. This is my command. I'm just going to sync from my master server. I set up an rsync server on my master server, sort of out of the scope of this presentation how to do that, but it's very simple. If you get if you Google it, you can very easily find how to set up an rsync server. It's pretty trivial. So it connects to the server. So it's a pull versus a push. So the server doesn't push anything. The mirror pulls any new content. Yes.
I'm sorry, the OS that all of this is running on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually, it's in there, but CentOS. So all of this is based on CentOS 6.3 right now. 6.4 is out. I will need to update, but yes, CentOS 6.3. A few other basic settings, users root, and I'm running this right now. I'm running this every 15 minutes. You can tweak this if your volume of packages that you upload slows down. This was during our initial mass package upload, so we needed kind of a quick replication, but you can pull this down. Right now, this is basically said every 15 minutes, run this job and pull anything down. And this is what that looks like. So then we get into the sort of the more the larger manifest here. So we need to configure a vhost for the package mirror. So I'm going to use the Apache module from the Puppet Forge. I will go in a few slides. I will show you how to install that. But I'm going to create a package mirror vhost. That's what I'm calling it. And I have a template file for that configures that. It's going to be called vhost.munkirepo.conf. It's an interpreted Ruby file, so I'll show you the template for that. I'm going to run it on port 80. This is my doc root. Priority, it's kind of standard. My server name is going to be my fully qualified domain name. This is a fact, not because I say it, but because it is a fact in Puppet. Again, Graham talked about that too, how facts are your friend. So I didn't have to do anything for this. The FQDN is known on every package mirror automatically when Puppet runs. So I just really use this as the host name without editing. Vhost name, I use the FQDN as well. Next step, I need to pull the code for the package mirror from somewhere. I'm going to use the vcsrepo, version control system repo. Again, this is a module maintained by Puppet Labs. I'm going to tell it to ensure that it's present. This means it's going to download it once and not after that. So I don't necessarily want it to pull down every update that comes out, any code push that is done to it. I don't want to have the bleeding edge of this. I just want it to pull it once and put it in place. So I'm going to use Git for that, and I'm going to get it from the standard GitHub repository for package mirror and make sure that it is in place. And once that's done, I send out a notify because I need to run a quick little command to make sure that everything is set up. So this will notify prep package mirror, which is coming up next. And this is what that looks like on screen. So this is the prep package mirror I was talking about. After I clone this particular project, I need to run the bundle install, the bundled gem, to make sure that everything is in place. So I just tell it to jump into the root of it, run bundle install. I have a path set. That's pretty much just standard. You don't have to put that in there, but this will ensure that bundle is found. You can give bundle the absolute path to the command, but this will work as well. So that will prep the package mirror code for deployment. I'm going to make sure that my actual packages directory is there so that I can serve them. So owner Apache, group Apache, mode. I don't want to replace it. I don't want to overwrite if I already have one here. I just want to create it once. And then there's one settings file, one YAML file that needs to be pulled. It is static. There's really nothing in there because the master server will be the same every time. So I just tell it to pull the file from the Puppet file bucket. So in this manifest, I have in the files directory, I have settings.yaml, and I set some ownership, some modes, and that file looks like this. So it's basic YAML. It's my master host name, and all this stays as it is. I don't have to change anything. So the only thing I would change is this part right here, and it puts that on the package mirror as well. Then I turn a few things off. I turn off IP tables in my environment because it always gets in the way. I make sure that bundler is there because I call it, so I want to make sure that's there. I understand that I'm not necessarily using very clean chaining here. This, as we know or not know, when Puppet runs a manifest, it may do it completely out of sequence. So here I should have put a ensure or a chain it to or rather make this a requirement for the package mirror and prep that I have here. So that's an important note to make. Puppet will run it however it sees fit, and if you don't tell it what to run first, it will possibly do it out of sequence. So caveat to my own code here. And then I make sure that rsync is installed as well. And that's what that looks like. So, as I said, we need the xsend file module for Apache. So I just tell it this is what it creates. This is where you get it. This command here is verbatim off the site of the maintainer of xsend file. This is the command that they give you to download it from their site right here and run it through tar and set it up with APXS, which is the tool that you use to create new modules for Apache. So this is a one-liner that will create the module here. Note that I am running on a 64-bit system. If you are running a 32-bit, you want to make sure that you give this the lib versus the lib64 directory. So what do we have left? We have a configuration file that we need here. That too is very simple. It has little content. I actually put this in a single string because it's very simple. It just loads the xsend file module from there and there. And as you see here, I did proper chaining. I told it to make sure that's there first. So yay me. And that's it. So this is the last bit of it. So I wanted to also make sure that we saw the vhost configuration. This is the ERB file, so this is interpreted by Puppet when it's pulled. So as you can see here, I have a couple of, this is what the variables look like in an ERB file. So this is all flat text, so this won't change. Anything behind the less than % equals and % greater than will be interpreted by Puppet. So this will be changed out for the vhost name that I, as you might remember, pulled from the fqdn fact. And same goes for the server name and my doc root that I said before. And there's a doc root here too. And this here is coming directly from the Apache module. I didn't change any of this. This pulls any kind of error log information. It looks up a variable from the Apache module in parameters, Apache name. I didn't do anything to create this. This is their standard. You can use this as is. It will just pull from the Apache module some of these settings, and this is how it looks. It looks up the variable Apache module from the parameters, Apache name. It pulls it from there. So the only thing that I had to do here was make sure that vhost, port, server name, doc root are passed in appropriately. As you can see here, I set up xsend file. I turn it on. I tell it which path to serve, to send a request header that tells the server that you need to use this xsend file type method to send it. And all of this here is, again, this is standard info that is on the xsend file site they tell you to use. So I didn't make this up, which would be cool, but I didn't. It's right on the site, so you can just copy paste that. Most of this I copy pasted. There's very little that I had to do a lot of custom work for. So I'm sort of going backwards, but since Alistair asked, I'm using CentOS 6.3 in my case for this. Very minimal install. I need to make sure that I install the Puppet Enterprise agent. When you install Puppet Enterprise Server, it also gives you the location to the agents, where to download them. It's a tar file. You get it onto the client, and you install it. You can obviously further automate that by using a Kickstart file if you want to. You can go all crazy and use Puppet Razor to do this. I kind of kept it a little simple, but you can, any of these steps here, you can further automate so that you can bring up a machine 1 or 1,000 package mirrors in one go. So the Package Enterprise agent configures a node for connection to the Puppet Master. It asks a number of questions. One of the questions you need to say yes to is it will ask if it needs to enable plug-in sync. That will allow it to download the Apache module, the Passenger module, the ones that I create. So you need to make sure that this is enabled on your package mirror, or it will not download them. It saves an answer file. So once you're done, it has an answer file. You can grab that and use that to configure any of your other package mirrors. You can point it to the answer file, and it will do it automatically from that point on. So that's one way to automate that. You can turn on auto signing in Puppet. So whenever a node identifies itself, you can just tell it to trust it and be done with it. I'm just showing you what it looks like in Puppet Enterprise when you don't do that and you need to approve a node request. So this is a machine here that I installed the client on and told it to connect to this so-and-so Puppet Master. It has a pending node request. You can say accept that one, or accept all of them at once, or accept this one specifically. That will get you there as well. I'm just mentioning this because by default Puppet Enterprise does not have auto signing on, and you will have to go to the node requests, and it's right to the right here. You'll see how many node requests there are. You click on it and you get this UI to accept them all or accept one of them. I usually just do accept all because I have a couple waiting. So what do you need to install on the on your master to get all this to work and sync it to the package mirror? You need the Passenger module and the Apache module from Puppet Forge. You install that this way: Puppet module install. Puppet Labs is the maintainer. Apache is the name of the module. That will do all it needs to do. Same with Passenger. Puppet Labs also maintains the Passenger, or I should say one of the Passenger modules, but this is the most well-featured one in my experience. You install this on the server. So this is done on the server one time. Because you turned on plugin sync earlier, when the package mirror connects, it gets this plugin from the master, and it will at that point have it available as well. Once installed, you need to add them as classes to Puppet Enterprise. And I also need to add my Munki and Munki vhost classes to Puppet Enterprise as well. That goes. I don't have a full Puppet Enterprise demo planned here because that's a whole other kettle of fish, but this is the UI element where you would add a node class. So basically you add the name that you gave your module. So in this case, Munki vhost, you create it, and same with the Munki repos node group. You create the node, a group for that, and then you apply all these to that particular group. So Munki sync, Munki vhost, Apache to a group. You can do it individually too. I use the group because that way you have everything applied in one fell swoop. So as you see here, this is the Munki repos group. I've assigned Munki sync, Munki vhost, Passenger. You don't see Apache here because in this case I didn't apply it because it's implicitly called from my own module. So because I call it from in there, it knows where to get it. I would recommend putting that in here as well, just so you know which classes or which modules you're using. So then on the next Puppet run, on this newly set up package mirror, it installs a number of packages. Passenger's installed and configured. Apache, which is required by Passenger. It's also configured. XN file, source downloaded, compiled, module put in place. Loads the template files that I told it, either static templates or the vhost dynamic template. And if all that went well, we got green lights and everything works. So this is just a view of the hosts, of a number of hosts that were set up. So what does that all mean? As an example, we have a Munkiserver, master Munkiserver at my West Coast location. I have a mirror in the Midwest. I have a mirror on the East Coast. What is going to happen? So a client local to my West Coast location is going to connect to the master Munkiserver. It's going to get all its needed files from that one server because it's local. It's not going to branch out. Client that's in the Midwest is going to connect to the master Munkiserver on the West Coast for its manifests and catalogs. Once it comes time to download something, it's going to grab those from the Midwest package mirror, and it is not going to go out over the wire to get it from the master server. Same with the East Coast. Again, connects to the West Coast server, that is the master, gets its manifests, catalogs, and connects to the local package mirror to get its packages. Again, not sending anything out over the wire. And 8 minutes, awesome. So we learned, and I totally don't blame you if you feel like you didn't learn everything here, but we're going to do questions. What Munkiserver is, what it does, how the repositories work, how to configure a client to connect to different servers for configuration files and package installables, what the benefits are of having multiple repositories, and how Puppet can be put in charge of managing those. So to create an rsync job, configure Apache Passenger, install a number of required tools, and download the package mirror code and set that up as well. That is what I have. It's sort of 100 miles an hour at a wall, and here's the wall, but I have 7 minutes left, so I want to give you guys some chance to ask me questions because I assume there are some. Ask me anything about this, that is.
So the connections of nodes to node groups is straightforward and documented.
Yes.
The connections of what classes are in Puppet Enterprise and how to get those.
In Puppet Enterprise, there is a very extensive help section. How there's a link in there. Getting set up in Puppet Enterprise. So I do this first, then this. Now I want to add my first class. I go here. It's very well documented. I got this set up in an hour or so. Once I had my manifest set up, it was pretty straightforward from installation to having it running. So I think they have a lot of, they pride themselves on the documentation that they provide, and I think it's it plays out well.
And Puppet Enterprise itself, getting bootstrapped on CentOS?
The server?
Yeah, the original master of Puppet.
I did some Kickstart experimentation with that. I'm kind of still, as with anything, improvement is always, there's always somewhere to improve. So I actually want to see if I can get something done with Puppet Razor to make it even more streamlined. But for what I needed, setting up the single master, somewhat manually was okay as a learning experience. That helped me to set up the automatic configuration of the package mirror host a lot, so that I knew I can ditch this. I don't need these. I just need a minimal install and have Puppet just install this base stuff. So, it's always more, automation is always possible, of course. But I did not do a lot of automation in my master Puppet master setup so far. But, you can always do more.
How does Munkiserver cope with machines with access chains like that?
Well, how it works is that it grabs whatever EN0 is. So EN0 is always something, right? Unless you have, there's no Macs that have no network adapter. So it just grabs EN0. So if EN0 happens to be wireless, so be it. But it will always grab that. So there will always be a fix. Now, obviously, if you get a repair done, you may have some edge case there, but it always uses EN0. So there will always be
like a one-time identifier that it's not disrupted by the fact that you then are in E7.
Exactly, because it will still look up what your EN0 is, and they don't change. I mean, obviously, OS, the Mac doesn't change the hardware, the physical devices will stay the same. So, yeah.
How far off is the serial number modification, do you think?
Or UUID, is that under?
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, the serial number, I'm definitely for that, to do that, and I've looked at the code a little bit, and I've tinkered with it, and I'm thinking of submitting a pull request pretty soon to have that in place. It's just, it's community involvement is what drives this. So I've been ramping up my modifications of the code as well.
I'm just thinking that, like, for our deployment, and I don't know how this plays out with, how the hardware gets mapped, but whenever we are deploying a Retina or an Airbook or something like that, we're pushing out through the wire with a Thunderbolt adapter, and then that Thunderbolt adapter gets unhooked and used on the next machine.
It will always grab the first Ethernet device.
That's
so
what it's going to map to.
Yeah. So if you use a Thunderbolt Ethernet adapter, it will not use the Mac on that. It will use the Thunderbolt adapter will never be EN0.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, never. Only built-in will be, anything that's built in is EN0. So in any case, it will always be the same identifier. But I understand your hesitance with that.
With Munkiserver being dynamic, the catalogs on the fly, what have you, is there an appreciable overhead on your Munki web server compared to traditional?
I don't think so, because I think, for me, I haven't done a lot of benchmark, because you would have to hammer it with a few hundred clients. But I think since it's pulling it from a database and not sending flat files, I would imagine that it's as fast, if not faster, probably, because you're not pulling from a file system, sending a file out. You're just generating it on the fly, and you're just sending HTML content, or, XML, but you know what I mean. So benchmarking would be interesting.
Oh, and so it's not serving the packages necessarily from the database, or?
The database does not store any binaries. The packages are all flat on disk.
That's why you can get away with SQL 3 bytes.
Yes, exactly.
That I would think would be a big bottleneck.
Yeah, I don't know if you necessarily want to store a ton of binary in a database to begin with. It's not a great.
You don't think so?
It's not what it's made for, unless Microsoft thought of it. No, I like them. They're great. Please, that's all we use at work, so I need to deal with them. Any other questions? I have 2 minutes left.
Any tips for importing existing Munki repos?
Yes, I'm writing a tool. I'm almost done with writing a tool, actually. That's the big thing I need to say. Recently dove into Python. It's awesome, as we've learned at this conference and previous ones. I have a tool that will walk your existing repo and pull out the, given a manifest, it will pull out the installer for it and the package info. We'll pull the latest if it's not specifying a specific version. If it specifies a version, it will pull that. It will pull the paths out of your repo, and I'm now bolting on an uploader to that. So it will then automatically upload it to using the same method as my client token. So I'm telling it, forget logins. We don't need those. Just upload this package. It will dump them all in your staging by default, and then you need to do the needful to get it where it needs to be. But I'm maybe a week away, depending on how much.
You're on video, mate.
2 months. Scratch that. We'll fix that in post.
We don't need logins.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, Nate.
Will you be creating the bundles and that stuff? Will you be mapping the bundles to or will we have to make this one?
I guess I could. I mean, I would say, yeah. Honestly, if people have suggestions as to what would be useful in a 1.0, I could definitely, figure that out, because it's just a matter of just mapping it to the right.
I don't know if there's an analog between.
Yeah. Manifest is basically a bundle, so I could say this manifest that I just fed it, make that a bundle. I'm setting it up to pull nested manifests and optional software if so desired. So you can pull anything from just the first level or loop, ad infinitum, then grab anything else that is there. So yeah, that's definitely possible.
Simian can also, just because that's exposed in the package info file,
Mm-hmm.
that you can say what URL is pulled from, rather than just assuming that it maps statically
Right.
to where the server is with the catalog and manifest file, that directory layout. So we do that with DNS names. So we just say, hey,
Right.
just look on the local network, wherever your local network
Right.
is to redirect.
Yeah, you can, I mean, there's various ways to skin the cat of what is my site and where do I go. Like Alistair said, you can use DNS redirection to do the same thing. It's a matter of what's easiest in your environment. In my case, every computer has the site name as the first part of the name, so it's real easy. You can use AD sites. You can use, I don't know if OD has site names too, does it? I'm not sure if it does.
They have locales.
Locales. Well, there you go. That sounds very fancy. So yeah, that part is kind of like, how do I want to determine that? But yeah, good point.
So like,
DNS.
would you want to split stuff up by unit, by site?
Yeah, that's how I do it. Yeah.
That's built into this particular.
Well, that's how I do it. That's how I do it. Yeah.
So logically, you only need to push stuff over the WAN to each site
Yeah.
that mirror needs.
Yep. All right. I hope this was helpful. I know it's kind of dense, but my slides will be online, so thank you.